Hi everyone, Anthony Dog Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a Karsten review of the new Chet Faker record, Built on Glass. Can Chet Faker sing?
I don't know. Yes.
I think it's a perfectly logical question to level against this full-length debut from this Australia-based, electronically tinged neo-soul and R&B singer. However, it's not really a question I see a lot of people asking. I mean, this dude definitely proved that he was worth checking out with a EP he put out a few years ago that received a somewhat warm reception, and then there was also the project he dropped recently with fellow Australian musician Flume. On this record, he actually had a minor hit with the song Drop the Game. However, I just don't think the vocals deliver on this record in a genre where there is so much pressure to deliver the goods vocally. For example, on the track Talk is Cheap, there are all these mundane verses all over the track, just Chet's voice. It's not that passionate or interesting. He hangs around in his lower register, he writes a somewhat nimble melody for himself, but he clumsily stumbles around it. And when he's not doing that, he's straining his vocals on the hook, and he sort of seems to confuse straining for passion. And even when he hits melodies that are sort of in his mid-range, he doesn't really hold on to the pitch that well, or just very badly transitions from one note to another. You gotta feel it on your own. There's also a really terrible vocal solo at the end of the song where Chet is essentially layering his vocals on top of one another, trying to harmonize them, and it does not go over well. The best thing about this entire track is the horn-aided instrumental. Then with the song Gold, Chet sings a majority of this track through a really flimsy falsetto, which is a shame because melodically, I think this is one of the better songs on this entire record. I just think it should have been handed to a better singer. There's very little in the way of tolerable vocal middle ground for me on this record. Either Chet is giving himself vocal feats that he can't accomplish, or he is on point with the pitch, but he's delivering his vocals with the passion that someone would give to, I don't know, handing you your order at the drive-thru. Then there's the song Melt, where Chet invites on an equally unskilled and unpassionate singer, Kilo Kish, to duet with him, and she's just as bad as holding onto the pitch. She makes the same mistake Chet does on Talk is Cheap and hangs in her lower register and can't stay on key there. She's not even in tune with the instrumental some of the time. And then there's 1998, which I think is this album's one shot at a danceable club single. It's sort of a slow, sensual track, but still has a pretty driving beat. This instrumental actually wouldn't sound too uncomfortable on that Disclosure record that came out a little while ago. But when it comes to pitch and when it comes to passion, once again, Chet does not really deliver. And the deeper cuts on this record are even more insufferable sometimes, like with Cigarettes and Loneliness, where Chet kind of goes indie-tronic, and it's really one of the more uneventful tracks on the entire LP. Or he's attempting to harmonize with his own lazy, off-pitch singing on the song Lesson in Patience, which really lives up to its title. I could barely make it through the one listen that this track deserved. You know, maybe some of this really off-point singing would be tolerable if Chet brought more interesting songs or lyrics or song ideas to the table, but I mean, it's just a series of heartbreak and love songs. At least that's how I'm reading them. And then as far as the instrumentals, a lot of them are just really smooth, quiet, electronic, and bland. There's not a lot to what's going on here instrumentally. In fact, Chet sounds a lot like much of everything else that's going on right now. He sounds like a less interesting James Blake to me. Or maybe even like a Jamie Woon, who also does electronically tinged contemporary R&B and soul. However, Jamie has a set of pipes on him. Or maybe you could even compare him to Mayer Hawthorne or Jamie Lydell, who, I mean, is not the best singer in the world either, but at least he makes songs that kind of know how to have fun. You could even throw Subtract and Sampha in there when they get together. You know, not only is Chet just not delivering the technical ability to make these songs really come to life on this record as far as his vocals go, but it seems that there's no shortage of more interesting alternatives out there too. You know, to me, in a nutshell, this record is just modern, soulless soul. and that's it. Sometimes the beats are decent, sometimes the melodies are okay, sometimes the instrumentals are just easygoing and pleasant. You know, they're not offensive, they're not exciting, they're just kind of there and sometimes a little sweet. And, you know, inherently they're not terrible, but Chet definitely makes sure that, you know, you're not going to want to stick around and enjoy them because of his lack of singing ability and his lack of just conviction on these songs. Conviction. I'm feeling a strong 2 to a light 3 on this thing. Transition, if you've given this record a listen, what did you think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? What do you think I should review next? And that's it. Chet Faker, Built on Glass, forever.